Hello and good morning. My name is Shamash. I'm author of Mindfulness for Dummies. And today's video is about tips for managing the winter, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, in a more mindful way. So I'm going to go through some tips and tricks that you could use. So first of all, just talk a little bit about myself personally. So normally I travel quite a lot. So in a normal year, and this is why this video is particularly important, and this topic is very important for us to reflect, I think. In a normal year, I'd be doing things very differently. I'd usually be away at Christmas time. I would be quite often I'm traveling, so I wouldn't be in the UK for the whole of the winter for sure. And I know some people would, and they'd be used to being in their home country for winter, not lucky enough to be able to travel. Or some people don't want to travel and they're quite happy to be in their home country wherever they are. But I think for most people, will find that their normal habits and normal things that they would do over the winter is not the same this year. And so we really need to take time. And this, I really feel that around now is a particularly good time to reflect and think about, okay, what can I put in place over the next few months that could help to support me as I go through this transition. So obviously, it's very natural for us, unless you're on the actual equator, um, to experience the seasons, the four seasons. And so, how do we go into managing autumn and then winter and then going into spring in a more mindful way? And so I'm just going to talk about it and share some ideas that come to mind as I speak. And maybe this can be a bit more of a conversation. I don't want to be like the person who's like, this is the way to do it and follow my advice and instructions. But maybe we could all get together and share some of our resources and tips and ideas and things that work for us. And I can put some sort of free resource together for us all to gather together and have something that we can access. And I think our shared wisdom is so much more powerful than from any one person. If you look at something, Wikipedia, and the way Wikipedia grew, it's not any one person for sure, is it? It's the combined group wisdom that is so much more powerful. And I remember in the early days of Wikipedia, people didn't used to really believe it. And when I used to quote it when I was at school, they were like, oh, that's an unreliable source, Wikipedia. But over the years, it's become more and more reliable. And another interesting fact that some of you may not know is that, I think big companies like Google and also Microsoft, they tried to create rival encyclopedias online. But it just the cost ended up becoming exponential for them because if they couldn't beat the wisdom of the crowd, so to speak. So yeah, let's get the wisdom of the crowd going together if we can, and maybe share this with others and get people to share in the comments their resources, ideas, and tips for managing the winter, particularly this year, in a more mindful way, in a kindful way, and that could be helpful for us all. But some things that come to mind, first of all, is to maybe make a little bit of a plan. I don't know if you're a planning type person or not, and you may not normally bother planning, but this is a different year. This is a different challenge that we're facing. So maybe even if it's just now or sometime in the next week or so, just thinking about, okay, how am I going to manage the next few months? What could I do maybe a little bit differently to how things have been going? If things have been going well for you for the last month or two, or you've got some nice habits in place that are working for you, then no problem. You may be able to just continue to use those strategies and techniques as we go into the winter, and then hopefully you'd be fine. But if things haven't been going so well for you, which is 100% understandable because of all our normal ways for cultivating well-being have been challenged. Things like even something like, I'm a mindfulness teacher, so people will be doing mindfulness and meditation usually in person in groups, so that's been challenged. Meeting up with people is possible, but it's sometimes scary for some people or not possible for some people, so that's been challenged. Being able to exercise, which is so good for our mental emotional well-being as well as physical well-being, so many forms of well-being, that's much more difficult now. Certainly with things like gyms and stuff, it's a difficult challenge. So for people who have got habits of going swimming normally or exercising in the gym normally or going to a yoga class normally, suddenly you can't do that as well. So it's definitely more difficult. And so we do need to take the time to stop and think, okay, what would actually work for me? What can I do differently? And you might be able to think of even just one thing. And of all the things that I researched, one of the things that kept coming up again and again and again is just try and do a really, really small change and be consistent with it. And it's usually a small change that's so small, it almost seems silly, like doing one press up a day, or not even going for a walk, but just putting your trainers on or sneakers on, whatever you like to call it. These tiny things, which seem so small, they seem stupid, can actually have quite a big impact. So think about the different. If you want to consider this, think about what area you want to cultivate a habit or do an activity which you could potentially do throughout the winter. I think that's one important thing. Secondly, something that you can do on a daily basis. There's something really powerful about doing something every day. I've mentioned this before, but we've got this daily mindfulness club where people come together every day at a certain time and we do this meditation together. And that seems to really help. The fact that whether it's weekdays or weekends or a bank holiday or not, it doesn't matter. We always show up. So what is it for you? Would it be a daily walk, maybe? That is something that you want to be able to put in place. Is it a certain form of mindful exercise, yoga or tai chi or qigong? Maybe it's something you want to do but you don't have in place, so you can start thinking about, okay, well, how can I get that one thing into a habit? Now, one of the things that I've found that's helped is to do this with others and to put something in place so that it's very hard to get out of it, if you see what I mean. It's almost like a commitment that you made, and once you've made it and you've clicked a button or made this choice, you're kind of in that, and so it's quite hard to get out of it. Another thing that comes to mind, we've got this mindfulness teacher training program. So people who've signed up for it and they've paid the cost of it and they're part of the group, it's almost like you're in it now. You can't get out of it. You've made that commitment, and so you're much more likely to be part of that community and that group and go on that journey. So what would it be for you if it's not that, and it's not the daily mindfulness club? Maybe it's a certain yoga class, and maybe you want to book a certain series of classes that happen daily, or if you don't want to do daily, then weekly. But think about something that you could do on a daily basis, because I think that really makes a huge difference. Weekly can be good too. There's definitely power in that as well, and maybe that's something that you want to do. But I would like to encourage you to do something daily, because of that's when it can become a habit and really make a big difference to your body and brain. So could be maybe some sort of movement class that you sign up to that's online. Now, it could also be, I would say, don't discount in person completely. For some of you, you're just, because of your health condition, it's just impossible for you to do in person stuff. But even in that case, you may be in some sort of bubble where you can be with certain people. And so maybe you can do some activity with them. But I know in the UK at the moment, there's a limit of 6 people. They may change it, so it may be just the family members that you're in, but at the moment it's a limit of 6 people. You need to ideally say a couple of meters away, but within those restrictions, they'll probably encourage people to come together if you can in a safe way, because if they know the benefits of that. So maybe being outdoors with a small group of people, a safe distance away, following all the different guidelines and regulations for wherever you are in your country, you may be able to do that, and you may be able to commit to doing something on a daily basis. Maybe you'd meet in a park and go for a walk together in a mindful way, or do mindful meditation together. Um, what else can you do? I'd be interested to see in the comments. Let's see if there's anyone shared any ideas for the kind of activities that you could do together. Someone saying winter sounds fun. We just dream about having a white Christmas. So it depends, yeah, where you are in the world. And that's actually triggered another idea, which is the attitude you take towards it. Okay, if you've just got the sentence in your head like "I hate winter" or "I don't like winter" or "Winter's going to be really hard this year," yeah, maybe or may not be, but we're not there yet. So let's take things step by step, and having an attitude of being open to, actually, let's see what happens. That could be really good. And one way of working through those attitudes is journaling. So there's it's a completely safe activity. As long as you've got a clean pen, you're good to go. Where you just get a piece of paper or a journal and you just make the habit of writing one sentence every day. So you can wake up in the morning and commit to writing one sentence in your journal. And there's so much nice research on journaling and it's linked to well-being. I was talking to one of my friends who's into gratitude journaling the other day, Shailene, and he was talking about the benefits of it. It's really, really powerful. So get yourself a journal. Treat yourself to a little a journal that you buy from a shop or online, which you really like. And you could just start by just writing a stream of consciousness. You could just write down what comes into your head. You could write down one thing that you're grateful for, or one thing positive about the winter that you're looking forward to, perhaps. Or, well, yeah, that could actually be a good challenge. Like as the seasons change and you find it challenging, like I'm going to try and find one thing that's beautiful about winter or beautiful about the autumn that I really like. So that could be an approach that you take. The journaling is something that you could do and put into place every day. Um, uh, the other thing is that I did a little bit of research, did a little bit of Googling on what people suggest for coping or managing with the winter in a mindful way. And one thing that came up in quite a few sites, which I think is a good suggestion, is mindful conversations. So that could be another commitment that you make. And let's say if you have a group of 3 or 4 friends that you really like talking to, you could say to them that, okay, how about at the certain time on a Monday we have a chat, and then another friend, how about at a certain time on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like that. And you've made the commitment with them, they got made the commitment with you. And so even on the days you don't feel like it, or you think, oh, I don't have time, even if it's a short chat, for a few minutes, that could be a really good one, and that can become a nice daily habit that you practice. Um, so they're the same. They're the ones that come to mind. Another one which is creative activities. So I've just been doing a bit of painting just for fun. I don't know what it is for you. It could be a new habit that you create. So it could be I don't know, if you're into you want to try sewing, or you want to try knitting, or you want to try gardening is a really, really good one if you like gardening, because it's using all your senses. Sight, what you see in the plants in front of you, the sounds of nature, the smell, taste if you're going to make any vegetables and eat them, and touch as you use your hands. So gardening is a really powerful one to step out of your head. Uh, and yeah, and then other creative activities like that. And then mindful eating is a really good one. And whether it's winter, spring, summer, autumn, whatever the season, you can always do some mindful eating. And you can treat yourself. They say, you know, if you like dark chocolate, they say that's supposed to be quite good for you too. So your daily habit could be to have a small piece of dark chocolate every day, and just say, hey, this is going to be a challenging winter. This is going to be my little daily treat, and I'm going to spend 5 minutes eating this little bit of dark chocolate in a really mindful way and really enjoy it and treat myself. So there's another idea. Um, yeah, there's some of the ones that come to mind. So, you know, doing something really small that makes a change that you can instigate and put in every day. Ideally, something in a community or in a group that you commit to. You may even pay a small amount of money for it if you can afford that. So you're part of it and you've made this commitment. Something that's done daily makes a difference. Some simple ones that come to mind is doing some mindful meditation at the same time every day. Some journaling is a good one, or some movement practices is another great one. We are all eating, whatever our situation, pretty much, hopefully. And so having a meal in a mindful way could even be once a week. But I like this idea of a little treat like chocolate. And doing some creative activities in a mindful way. So painting, um, drawing, what other creative activities, whatever comes to mind. Anyway, there's some ideas. I hope you found them helpful. And share your ideas in the comments, and I'll put something together as well, and I'll share with the group. And if you want some help from our community, then in terms of free, if you join our newsletter, every week I send some free tips and free guided meditations. We've got the Daily Mindfulness Club. That's about £1.20 a day, and we do it month by month by month. So you might want to just try that for the months of winter or for one of the months. What else do you do? Oh, yeah, we have an ACT course, Acceptance for Commitment Training. You could check that out. It's starting in a month or two. It's a 5-week course. Um, yeah, there's some of the ideas that come to mind. Yeah, let's keep in touch and share your ideas too. Okay, bye for now.